Today, we have Brandon Straka. He is the founder of the WalkAway movement, and he's here to tell us how he went from voting for Hillary Clinton in 2016 to wanting to vote for Donald Trump for 2020. Stay tuned. Okay, on the show today, we have Brandon Straka. He is the founder of the WalkAway movement. Hi, and welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Hi. How did the WalkAway movement start?
Well, on May 26th of 2018, which was last year, I put out a 6-minute video detailing everything that I found wrong and objectionable with liberalism and the Democratic Party, because I myself was a former lifelong Democrat and a liberal my entire life. I'm a gay man. And so for me, it was, I was kind of a defensive voter as a Democrat. I would, I would go in to vote basically not even necessarily so much for the Democratic Party, but against the Republican Party, because the media narrative seems to be that Republicans hate everybody who isn't white or heterosexual or a man. And so after Donald Trump got elected in 2016, which I thought was an impossibility because the liberal media kept telling us that he had a 3% or less chance of winning and that Hillary Clinton was definitely going to take the election, I was really, really crushed and confused and devastated and trying to understand why and how this happened. And so I kind of went on this long journey of research, which led me to the understanding that the liberal media that I had trusted my entire life were a bunch of liars and manipulators and deceivers and narrative creators, and that that just opened my eyes to a whole lot of stuff. And so ultimately, after spending most of 2017 sort of doing a lot of research and learning a lot of stuff, I ended up not only leaving the Democrat Party, but throughout the course of 2017, I walked toward the Republican Party, and I'm now a Trump supporter. And so on May 26th of last year, I put out this video kind of detailing everything that I had learned over that year of 2017. And I created something called the WalkAway campaign, encouraging other people to also make their videos and tell their stories, and also to walk away from the Democratic Party and the ideology of liberalism.
And did you vote for Hillary Clinton, by the way?
I did.
You did? Mm-hmm. So what was that moment that made you change your mind? Really? And what was that moment that made you change your mind about Hillary Clinton?
Well, I mean, I mostly changed my mind about Hillary Clinton. Surprisingly, I didn't change my mind so much about Hillary Clinton even because of, Benghazi or because of the, Clinton Foundation in Haiti and things like that. I mean, certainly those things did not help. But for me, it was really the recognition that she was a part of all of these things that I was figuring out. So for the biggest issue for me was the media and the way that the media lies and manipulates, but particularly as a gay man myself, it's that they're really manipulating minorities. And if you're black or, LGBT or a woman or Hispanic, they're kind of coming at you constantly, with this narrative that you're in danger. Now it's all about white supremacy. As a gay man, they keep saying that this is
it's kind of like fear mongering.
Oh, it's fear-mongering. It's totally fear-mongering. And so for me, I really realized that she was just a part of that. Because if you look back on her history, I mean, she's got a long history of engaging in some borderline racist, if not overtly racist rhetoric. She was against just about every gay right until it became publicly popular not to be against it. And I just don't think that she really stands for anything. I think she's a part of the globalist agenda. I think her philosophy seems to be just an extension of Obama's, which is, kind of pushing more towards globalism and tearing apart sort of the sovereignty of America. And I think that she doesn't really have any principles. I think she just sort of goes along with whatever is the most popular narrative in the moment. And so right now it's very popular to be all about social justice. So she is. Now she supports gay people. Now she's, pushing the same narrative that we're the biggest threat to America right now is white supremacy and white nationalism, white men, white, So
Why do you think that is? Why do you think they target white men?
Well, because I think that the narrative is that white men have pulled all the strings and had all the power. I mean, it's all my fault too, but I'm gay, so I kind of get a pass, but not even really much anymore. Because if you're a white gay man, they hate you. The liberals hate, I mean, you're a scumbag too. So, anyway, I think that's what it is. It's just a pushback of what that was considered to be the power structure, the patriarchy, and because the news is telling people every night that life is terrible for people who are non-Caucasian or non-heterosexual, then these people are existing in a perpetual state of victimhood, and that is therefore your fault.
Right. I mean, I think it's exploitation of people who fear white people, as they say, and then so they go and they vote for Democrats. It's immoral if you think about it.
Yes, I think it's completely immoral, and I think it's unconscionable, and that's why I left it.
And do you plan on voting for Trump
in 2020? I can't wait to vote for Trump in 2020.
What is it about Donald Trump that you like?
Well, now that I see what the real power structure is, which is what a lot of people call the deep state, but I mean, knowing that there is sort of...
What is the deep state for those who don't know?
Well, I'm not going to sit here and claim to know what the deep state is because nobody can really define it. I mean, the deep state, I mean, in the most general terms, is a power structure that exists within our government, made up of both government officials and non-government officials who are wealthy, powerful people who have an agenda of their own, which again is, I think, a very globalist agenda to kind of tear apart the fabric of America and equalize, in a sense, America with other nations around the world, so that there's a power structure in which there's an incredibly elite, powerful group of people at the top, and there is sort of a peasant class at the bottom and nothing in between. And these powerful entities, which exist within the government and outside the government, exist to undermine anything that goes on within the government that would defy that structure. And Donald Trump is the biggest disruptor to that structure, and that's why they hate him. And that's why they are literally trying to impeach him, to get rid of him, to overthrow him, to get him out. Anything that they can do.
And what do you say to those who say you're a traitor?
Well, I guess I am. To a certain, I mean, I've certainly turned my back on liberals, and I've turned my back on Democrats. I'm a proud traitor to that, because I think that many of them don't even understand what they're doing, and I have a respect for that, because I think to a certain degree I was even one of those people who didn't really understand what it was that I was supporting. But I've absolutely turned my back on progressivism, liberalism, and the Democrat Party. And like I said, happily so. I don't care if they think I'm a traitor. I mean, I'm certainly not a traitor to America, and I'm not a traitor to...
Well, traitor to like the Democrats and the liberals and the leftists is what I mean.
Yes, I am.
Yeah. Okay.
So I wear it proudly.
I'm assuming that CNN and MSNBC are not inviting you to their shows, right?
No, and that makes me really angry. It makes me really angry because I would love the opportunity to kind of explain what I'm doing, what it's all about. It's not like they don't know, and it's also not like they don't do stories about it. I mean, they talk about WalkAway. They've done numerous stories about my organization and my movement, but what they do is they say, like last summer, for instance, around the month of July or August, when we became so big that it was they could no longer ignore us. they started running stories saying that this was a Russian propaganda campaign, that it was conceived. Some even said it was conceived by Vladimir Putin.
Do you get any of your funding from the Russian Federation?
None.
Okay, just making
First of
sure.
all, we get very little funding, period. So let's be clear about that. All the funding that we have at this point is entirely grassroots. The hardworking people of America have supported WalkAway. Because the other thing, we've heard, we're a fake campaign, fake actors, Russian bots, all these different things, and that we're astroturf. That's the other one. And that one really enrages me because we work so hard. Day in and day, literally 7 days a week from the morning from the time we wake up in the morning until the time we go to bed at night. We never stop working, and we have to, because we don't have funding. We don't have, we just have the money that we make through the grassroots. It's been kind of astounding to me that we haven't had any like major millionaires and billionaires say, "Hey, what you're doing is amazing." Well, they've said it, they just don't give us any money. And then there are other organizations that are taking in millions of dollars every year, and they're not changing anybody's minds or accomplishing anything, I think, for the conservative movement that's really making a difference. So anyway, that's been kind of amazing to me. But yeah, no, we have not received any funding from Russia. We were not conceived in Russia. It was just me, a former hairstylist, who had an idea to make a video and create a social media campaign for people to walk away from the Democrat Party. And people thought it was a really good idea. So, the grassroots Americans stood up and supported us, and that's been incredible.
Now, for our Democrat and liberal leftist listeners, what is the message that you would give to them in their journey, possibly?
To the people who are still have an allegiance to the
Democrats or liberals, yeah, exactly.
Well, I guess I would try to, in the most compassionate and compelling of ways, to impart that the Democrats are not what they seem. The liberal media is not what it seems. That I believe that anybody who has an allegiance to the left probably does so because they have a big heart and they have a desire to make the world a better place. Which is a wonderful thing. But what is misguided is the group that they've joined that they think is going to lead them to that end, because they are only talking that talk and manipulating that very quality in you, the people who have an allegiance to them. And they don't really intend to help anybody who's black or LGBT. And this is where I get this, but it's the Democrats who gave you gay rights. Well, first of all, no, it's not. It was all of the activists from the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. There were people who lived and died their activism for the LGBT community that got social conscience to a place beyond a tipping point of acceptability. Beyond 50% said that, yeah, gay couples deserve the same civil marriage rights as other people, and civil rights as other people. The Democrats at that point just said, this is popular, let's jump on it. Boom. Yes, they voted. And yes, the majority of Republicans voted against us. But at least the majority of Republicans voted against us because they actually had a faith-based reason, which, by the way, I don't agree with. I don't think that we should be basing government policy off of scriptural belief. I think that's absurd. But at least they had a reason for doing what they're doing, which went beyond just hatred and homophobia, which was the narrative. The Democrats, on the other hand, only did it because it was a means to a popular end and taking advantage of a minority group, which was us. And so anyway, what I would say to these people is they're not what they seem. The media is lying to you. They're manipulating fear. They're creating chaos and division. And basically, everything that you hate about Donald Trump is actually true of the media. All of that.
So it's like a big projection.
It's a total projection. All of that anger and hatred and hysteria that you feel toward the president, point it squarely where it belongs, which is at the liberal media.
Now, why do you think that is? Is it an educational problem, or is it what do you think it is? Why do you think people fall into these traps of false narratives and false ideas?
Because there isn't enough counterpoint happening on the right. There's a reason why people call conservatives the silent majority, because it's true. They're very quiet and passive, and they don't fight back nearly enough. They don't speak up nearly enough. They don't participate nearly enough. And so you've got this incredibly passive political class, which is juxtaposed with the other side, which is incredibly loud, active, and controlling. And you've got 90% of the media, which is liberal, and they're all calling the other political class racists, bigots, homophobes, monsters, all these things. So, and you're not getting a lot of pushback from that class of people. So the entire story has been written by one side, and the truth is somewhere out in the atmosphere, like barely being told by anybody. And this is something I've tried to do with WalkAway. When I told people, create your testimonials and tell your stories, this is not just a campaign for people walking away from the left and walking away from the Democratic Party. We also have what we call the hashtag #WalkWiths, which are the people who walk with those who walk away. And that's usually people who have always been conservatives or Republicans or libertarians, what have you, anyone from the non-Democrats. And they need to, the silent majority, that's who this group is. And that the silent majority, as I say, needs to become unsilent. So I've told these people, listen, tell your stories as well, and reclaim the narrative of what it really means to be a conservative, or however you identify politically, that you're not a bunch of monsters, racists, and homophobes and bigots, but that there are sound, practical, logical reasons for having the political beliefs that you have, and tell your stories and make your testimonials. And that's, so we hear both in this campaign, but that's why I did that, because I wanted to have a counter to the liberal media, which I didn't feel like existed before WalkAway.
Now, with the cancel culture in full effect, are you afraid that you will be kind of like banned from the internet, kind of like Milo Yiannopoulos?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I never would want to get cocky and like rest on my laurels and be like, nah, it'll always be okay. But I mean, there's a mountain of difference between me and Milo Yiannopoulos, and which is not to say that he deserved to get canceled. That's not what I'm saying. I don't think anybody deserves to get canceled. I think that we should have free speech in this country, even the speech that offends us and hurts us and is very controversial. And I think we as a society and grown adults need to come together and decide for ourselves what we find acceptable. I don't want to leave that up to Mark Zuckerberg or, a couple of executives at Twitter. I don't think anybody deserves to get canceled, but I also don't cross certain lines that I think others who have gotten canceled have crossed. I mean, one could certainly argue, well, you've started this movement that's trying to shut down a major political party, and that political party is the one that majority of these big tech giants subscribe to. So obviously, yeah, there's a huge risk there. But I don't engage much in controversial language, or I just avoid that. I'm not saying I never think those thoughts. I certainly do, but I think, like with Milo, for instance, he really wasn't representing a movement per se. He was kind of just a character in and of himself. And so he had more freedom in that way to say and do whatever he wanted. And he certainly pushed the boundaries of that freedom. I don't really have that freedom necessarily, because I put the movement before myself. WalkAway is more important to me than me or my public persona or whatever. So I always think, before I say things but which is not to say that I'm perfect. I've certainly said and done some things that have upset my following, people in WalkAway, whatever, which is unfortunate. But I always try to put them first and say, if WalkAway went away because I made this one stupid tweet or this one stupid post or whatever, how would I feel? How would they feel? And then I try to act accordingly,
Now, let me ask you, have you ever been invited to the White House and met the president?
No.
No?
No.
Okay, I'm surprised. I would
So
think
am I.
Yeah, I would think you guys would be invited.
Yeah, I am too. And I think a lot of people are surprised. I don't know what's going on there. But it's, it's his house, not mine. He gets to choose who he wants to.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So hopefully someday, but not yet.
Now, are there any other topics that I missed that you want to talk about?
Well, we have a lot of really cool stuff coming up. I'd love to tell you about.
Tell me.
So a lot of the events that we've done so far have been our WalkAway town halls, which are geared toward different minority groups. And so far, we've mostly done the WalkAway LGBT town hall, the WalkAway Black Americans town hall. But in a couple of weeks, we'll be launching our very first WalkAway Hispanic Americans town hall here in New York. That's going to happen in AOC's District 14 of New York City, which is going to be amazing. We want to give her constituents kind of like some different information to chew on and consider. We'll also be doing our first WalkAway Jewish Americans town hall. That'll be coming in December. We're going to be doing a number of college campus engagements across the country, talking to young people, obviously college students, millennials, talking to them about why they should walk away from the Democrat Party. We'll be doing a women's event at I think in January of next year, which I'm really excited about. That's going to be amazing. Kind of think of it as the anti-women's march. It's going to be the women who want to feel loud and proud and empowered, but do not feel that third and fourth wave feminism represents them. They're going to get a stage to take their voices back, which is going to be awesome. We have a really cool website that's going to be coming out soon, but that's a little bit down the road. What am I not telling you? There's something. Very soon. I'll just announce it right here on your show.
Let's do it.
Soon we're going to be announcing a major March on Washington that's coming in 2020 we did the WalkAway March on Washington in 2018, but this one's going to be even bigger, even better, and really, really cool. So we'll be announcing that very soon. Tons of stuff. We're always up to, like I said, we work nonstop. It just keeps going and going.
Awesome. And where can people find more information about you guys?
I would encourage anybody to go to walkawaycampaign.com. When they get there, click join the movement, which will redirect them to the Facebook group where it all began. I know a lot of people are not that keen on Facebook these days, but I just ask people to kind of get over that for the time being until our new website rolls out, because this is all we've got for right now to stay connected. We're actively seeking solutions outside of the big tech social media giants, and we will be rolling that out very soon. That's what our website's all about. But in the meantime, I'm asking conservatives in general, don't let your contempt or your disdain for these social media tech giants prevent you from joining movements that exist on social media, because for the time being, that's what we've got. And until we find solutions, we have to continue to stay connected. We have to continue to stay as a network and support each other, support these movements. So join the movement. And please, for the love of God, donate to us on walkawaycampaign.com. There's a donate button right there. I promise you, your dollars will never, if you choose to put your dollars somewhere else, they will not ever be used as wisely as we will use them, because we work so hard. We are going coast to coast, talking to minority groups, talking to young people, talking to everybody about why they should walk away from the Democrat Party. And we've been very successful. We do voter registration at all of our events that we do. We've actually actively changed voter registrations of Black Americans, LGBT Americans, very soon Hispanic and Jewish Americans. So please support us. Donate at walkawaycampaign.com, and tell all your friends and share everything that we do with everyone that you know until the end of time.
Brandon, I really appreciate you being on the show today. It's a very interesting topic.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Talk to you later. Bye.
All right. Thank you.